Right, the sun's out, so let's talk a little bit about the benefits of what we know about sun gazing and looking at the sun directly at any time of day, although the sun does different things at different days, different times, as it rises above the sky. So sun gazing at any time is beneficial, possible, and with training we can build up to it. And you know, just practice, and you'll get longer and longer and longer. But why do we want to be sun gazing? What are the benefits of sun gazing? And let's talk a little bit about what I know currently and what is going to be discovered more in the future, and things we don't know, and hypotheticals. So, first things first, the sun is a multifactorial prism of light and has many colours, from the colours of the rainbow, and it varies as the sun rises. So sun rises at sunrise, at sunset, it's different colour frequencies than midday. So anytime you sun gaze, you'll be receiving different frequencies of light, of visible colour spectrum of light. So a midday sun gaze, or a near midday, would be high blue, high purple into the eye, into the eyes and ocular system, versus a sunrise sunset near that time, 1 hour after, 1 hour before, will be predominantly red light therapy, with red light into the eyes, which is effectively red light therapy. This is why we say that sunrise, sunset, sun gazing, not only is it easier because it's less stressful, it's only got the red light frequency, it's not as hot, the sun, at that times, but also it's very powerful to do sunrise, sunset within an hour or two of that time. It's very powerful because that's red light therapy, and red light therapy is medicine for the whole body, but red light therapy, especially to the eyes, does magic, and it decalcifies the pineal gland 100%. But there's benefits to all sun gazers, especially the midday sun, and think of the eyes as an extension of the brain, because that's what it is. Eyes are an extension of the brain, and therefore think of sun gazing as brain training. It impacts the brain most because that's where the eyes are received via the light is received via the eyes, but it affects the brain. That's the way I want you guys to look at it. Sun gazing. Sun gazing affects the brain in a very big way. So we've got, as soon as we look at the sun, it doesn't matter what time of the sun, and we do that sun gazing, the first thing you'll notice is the breath will slow down, not a little bit, a lot. The breath slows down a lot. What's going on there possibly is nitric oxide is being activated, and there's a huge amount of blood vessels just behind the eyes. And even a midday sun with low frequencies of UVA that can't penetrate that deep, they don't need to, because instead of the skin being a porous layer, this is a very soft layer. The eyes are designed to be a very soft layer. They're designed for light to enter, even midday light, which very low frequencies of UVA, UVB, they can penetrate deep within the blood, and they get into the blood and activate the nitric oxide. As soon as you look at the sun, activates the nitric oxide behind the blood in the blood vessels, and the blood vessels dilate. And that's, I believe, why we have a deep relaxing, slowing breathing. Breath slows down, and by the way, slow breaths are medicine, and breath slows down as soon as we look at the sun, because the nitric oxide is dilating the blood vessels, and the blood vessels behind the eyes dilate, and that dilates the blood vessels for the whole brain. So basically the whole brain, remember I said about brain training for the sun gazing? The whole brain gets dilated as soon as we look at the sun, and of course the longer we look at the sun, the longer the brain is, the blood vessels in the brain are dilated, and that's key, because that brings me on to a second point. Now we've got increased blood flow all over the brain from sun gazing, and the longer we do it, the more we're increasing blood flow. That, as a result of that, changes the brain waves. So we've got the brain waves of beta, alpha, theta, and delta, and gamma. And people that are stressed are often in very high beta, and we want to be in low beta in the day. And even in the daytime, we want to activate the alpha, the flow state, and then the theta, which is an even deeper one we can do in meditation whilst we're awake. And one way to activate great brainwave training and to really slow down and de-stress, not only when you sun gaze, you've got the slower breathing, which automatically de-stresses you and puts you in parasympathetic, but as a consequence of slower breathing, increased blood flow to the brain, what you're doing now is you're increasing brain coherence, and your stressed out state, or whatever state of brainwaves you're in, lowers. So if you're in high beta, stressed, it'll go to low beta. If you're in low beta, you go to alpha. Do you know what I mean? It does two things. it puts you in that, it lowers the brainwave states to more peaceful and calm, to alpha flow, to low beta, but also simultaneously I believe it increases brain coherence. And brain coherence is key because people that are depressed and have negativity in their life have a lack of coherence, discoherence within the brain. So, and what that means is one part of the brain is firing high beta, one part of the brain is firing middle beta, one part's firing low beta. There's no synergy between the brainwave states. So not only do we want lower brainwave states for more peace and calm and access to a high vibration, we want them to be coherent and working together. And what sungazing does is both. Sungazing lowers the frequencies of brainwaves. Whatever you're at, it just lowers it into more peaceful, calm, more energetic. But it also coherizes the brainwave states, so they're all firing in one. They're all working as one unit. And that removes depression. That's why the sun makes us fearless, because it's coherizing the brain and lowering those brainwave states. And ultimately, another thing people say with with sungazing is that it gives us lots of energy. One reason why is because increased blood flow to the brain. Now you're smarter. That slows the breath down. The slower your breaths down per minute, the more energy you have, and also the brain is getting coherized. The brainwave states are working in one. So that's all facts, and those are all things that I've connected the dots on, which are 100%. Also thanks to TM, I'm starting to figure out stuff with the brain. So ultimately, sungazing is brain. It's a major. Light is medicine for everything, the whole part of the body, sungazing, but it's having such an impact on the brain that it translates into physical body health benefits, because it's impacting the brain in such a powerful way with sungazing. Now that aside, there's one thing I did want to touch base on, which might be a little bit esoteric for some people, but I believe to be true, is that we know that the sun contains all the chakras, all the colours of the rainbow, and I believe that the chakra system is real. So when we do sungazing, we're effectively doing ultimate colour therapy session. So if I look at the sun at midday, I've got a high amount of blue, purple going to my eyes. I've also got small amounts of yellow, orange and red and green. All the colours of the rainbow are going into the eyes and ocular system. Therefore, my chakras, so the midday sun will be high blue, so there'll be a lot of blue medicine from sungazing coming straight from the eyes into my throat. High purple there, possibly decalcifying the pineal gland. Red light, sunrise, sunset sungazing would have a high amount of red if I look at it, that goes straight into the eyes and then goes into my first chakra, my base perineum, orange and yellow, high amounts going into there and there. So I also believe too that light is medicine, that we know that, and it's affecting the chakra system. So all my chakras are getting lit up from one session of sungazing, even a couple of seconds. The longer you do it, the more cumulative. But you can use that if you want to activate different parts. So like a sunrise, sunset, predominantly red, will, like I said, really light up, really light up. It lights up all of them because it's got all suns have all light variants of light, but it have mostly the red, whereas the midday sun will light up more the blue. So I believe that too is something that's going on. And lastly, I would just like to go back to the brainwave training. One key fact that when we increase the blood flow majorly to the brain, which we're doing with sungazing, and the longer the more it messes with like alpha brainwave states, and what I've said about brain coherences are all wonderful. Well, there's one thing that happens when you increase the blood oxygen levels to the brain with sungazing. You effectively rebalance your brain hemispheres. You know, there's an imbalance in brain hemispheres that we all suffer from, being as a consequence of the matrix and programming. So our left brain and right brain, if you want to put it in a simplistic term, left brain logical, analytical, right brain masculine, my right an ego. The right brain is more one consciousness, one love, feminine, and creative. And there's an imbalance there, and increasing the blood flow to the brain from sungazing brings back balance to the brain hemispheres and majorly activates the corpus callosum. I can feel it every time I sungaze. I can feel, and the longer I do it, the more I feel this, that my brain hemispheres are getting, because they've been severely damaged, they're getting rebalanced in a massive way, and I think that's due to increased blood flow to the brain. And also, of course, as we tap into the alpha and theta and low beta brainwave states and bring the coherence to the brainwaves, the brain starts working in synergy, and all these things help to rebalance the brainwaves, helps to rebalance the corpus callosum too. Ultimately, the ultimate medicine for the human body is the rebalance of the left and the right brain, so that we're using 50% of this and 50% of that, and that's what the matrix doesn't want from us, and sungazing will bring balance to the body, so therefore you are the best version of yourself. Okay, let me know your thoughts on this. I'd love to have more input from you guys on whether you think I'm right, whether you think I'm wrong, and anything that I don't know I'm willing to learn. I just love sungazing. I know it's a magical protocol, and ultimately at the end of the day, all you need to know to do it is to look at the sun, to feel better, to feel fearless, to feel more energetic, and to notice, oh, my breath's slowing down, because that is the key. You just know it's good. You don't need to know the science. It's only interesting for some of us, but yeah. Alright, hope you got some value. Peace.